Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Tina Rose. We're going to wait just a minute or two because I signed on a couple minutes early. And this is my first live, YouTube live. And if you are watching the replay, welcome. I had a couple of followers select that they were going to be joining on the live today, but you know how things can change in the schedule, especially this is the day before Thanksgiving. So I understand, but just out of respect for the schedule, I will wait one more minute before I officially begin the intro and the content. I hope everyone has big plans for Thanksgiving. And if you're watching this after Thanksgiving, I hope you had a good one with family members. And the goal of today's content on this live would probably be really good to learn this technique and do it a couple times before you attend your family events at Thanksgiving to help you begin to change those people pleaser reflexes. So if you're watching the replay, please comment below with where you are watching this replay from, what part of the world. It's always fun to read where everybody is living. And it does help when you have like a potluck, right? You have somebody bringing something. Everyone is bringing something to the Thanksgiving meal so that you don't have to cook it all yourself. I have done once or twice a couple of Thanksgivings where I prepared all the food for a small group of us. We didn't have family members coming, so I took care of everything for my immediate family. But that's a lot of work. And after I did it once or twice, I was like, no, I just can't do that anymore. We're going to have to go out to eat. If it's just going to be us three at the time, then we're just going to go out to eat. And that's where actually my extended family is going to Golden Corral, a restaurant that serves buffet everything. And they're going to be open on Thanksgiving. And my daughter and I decided we didn't really want to go to Golden Corral. We'll miss seeing our family members. But on that side, on my side of the family, we're going to go to, instead, we're going to go to her dad's side of the family for Thanksgiving dinner. And that'll be good for me. I haven't seen them in a while. But I hope everyone does have a good Thanksgiving or has had a good Thanksgiving as we kick off the holidays. Always a fun time, but remember your self-care as you go into these holidays because you do spend a lot more time around family typically. And this technique that we're going to do today, I highly recommend. Please allow me to encourage you to implement this technique into your everyday practice for self-care. And I'll explain more about why that's going to be so important and how it helps you. So, okay, let's go ahead and begin. Welcome. My name is Tina Rose. This is our Ppl-Plsr support group. My credentials. I have a certification in yoga, 2 types of yoga, Hatha and Kundalini. And I also have a lot of experience with yin yoga, and recommend all of those, especially yin yoga. And if you're one of those people who hasn't experimented with doing yoga, or you've experimented and you've had trouble like getting into it, try yin yoga. I love it. It's like a meditative practice for me when I taught yin yoga, and when I do yin yoga in my own personal daily practice. It's like a meditative practice. And any kind of yoga can help you learn to meditate and make your meditation ability stronger. And meditation, in my feeling, is one of the most important things you will ever do in your life. It is going to be part of your healing, because you want to retrain your mind. You want to, meditation helps you learn and train your mind to see the difference between the ego activity and your true, I was going to say intelligence, but it's not qualified as intelligent, your true inner guidance, right? It's a battle between those two. And you want to learn to recognize the ego activity and feel more into your inner wisdom. And the best way to learn to do that is to learn to quiet your mind, slow it down. You're always going to have that ego activity coming in, but you want to be able to quiet your mind. And the more you are able to quiet your mind, it works like dynamically, right? It helps calm your nervous system. You learn to discern between, okay, I'm having some fear thoughts now. I'm having some old coping patterns come into my mental body, and I need to quiet my mind and get back to releasing the ego. Just let it float by, those thoughts from ego. You don't always have to stand in a completely quiet mind or sit in a completely quiet mind. Learn to allow, recognize those ego activity, those ego thoughts, and just let them float away. Say, okay, I know that is the ego activity. I don't want to attach to it. I don't want to get carried away with it and grow it, expand that ego activity. I want to dip into my inner wisdom. And just let that ego activity say, okay, thank you for being here, so I can see the contrast. It tells me what I don't want. Therefore, I begin to enhance or allow what I do want into my mind. All right. So my credentials, I got carried away, got sidetracked, but yoga. I am a Reiki practitioner. I do energy healings with life force energy to help people begin and learn how to activate their parasympathetic nervous system. And that's something we can all use anytime. And I am also certified in sound healing. And that can be sound healing with instruments. I saw a heart, so I think someone is here. If you're here, please put your name and your location in the chat so we can make this interactive. I would love to interact with you. Tell me what part of the world you're from, and make this an interesting, dynamic live stream, and for others who watch it on the replay. But yeah, sound healing, I have things that I play. I have Tibetan singing bowl. I have a shaman drum. I have a frame drum, and mostly a lot of the sound healing I like to do for others and for myself. I do this in my daily practice for myself is toning, humming. I just love humming and feeling the vibration. So those are the different techniques that I have dabbled in. I've been meditating and doing yoga for 20 plus years. And yoga was a big step in helping me improve my meditation practice, just in general, because when you're in a practice of yoga, all of that is incorporated into it. They intertwine, or we intertwine, breathing techniques, meditation techniques, along with the stretches and poses that we do. But all of this, tuning into the body when you do the stretches, it's like an automatic practice that helps you tune out external things, and you're tuned into your body, right? Um, and that just helps you learn to quiet your mind. Let me just look in the chat. I don't see any comments yet, but I did see some hearts floating, so thank you for that. Yeah, we do have someone here, and I got one like. So I'm going to go ahead. It's been about 12 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the technique that I would like to offer in this people-pleasing support group today, and that is called an alternate nostril breathing practice. The alternate nostril breathing practice is a way that helps you balance the left and right hemispheres of your brain. Put in the comments if you have experience with alternate nostril breathing, or maybe you don't and you have experience with other breath techniques, or let me know if you have experience with yoga, any of those things. I would love to hear it. Or if you're certified in any of these, maybe you are, because this is a people support group. Just because some of us are certified in these different modalities, spiritual related modalities, doesn't mean we're perfect, right? We're still learning how to be in the world as our true self. So drop something in the chat, and I will make sure I read those and get you involved in the interaction here today. But today's technique will be alternate nostril breathing. And as I said before, it balances the left and right hemispheres of the brain. And this is important because people pleasing is often a left brain activity based in a coping pattern. And I would like to teach the alternate nostril breathing as a people-pleasing tool, because it was my experience as a people pleaser of many decades of people pleasing that even when I set my intention to not do it anymore, I set my intention specifically for, when I go into this conversation with this person, I'm not going to do what I typically do, and how I'm going to respond in a different way. But even with those intentions, I would still resort to the old pattern, the coping pattern. And it's because it's in our body, it's in our nervous system. When someone says something that even if you anticipated it, and it triggers you, and okay, this is one of those things I need to communicate, respond in a different way, your body has already sent a signal to your brain. And at that point, the neurons start firing in your brain that tell your body how to handle this situation. So what we want to do today in learning this technique and practicing it on a regular basis is rewire the way the neurons fire. You want to create a situation that when that nervous system sends that signal to your brain, that your brain begins to wire together from different receptors. You don't want the same old receptors to keep firing. That's what keeps happening over your lifetime when you're in these situations and you're triggered. The same receptors are firing together, and you want to change that. You want to rewire which neurons fire together. I think they're called neurotransmitters. I am in no way an expert on neuroscience, but I do know that this is how it works in a very simplistic, layperson way of seeing it. That's what happens. And so to get beyond that, to help, we want to teach the body that so that it knows the way to keep you safe. And toward the end of this practice, I'm going to offer an affirmation that will be something you can integrate along with this alternate nostril breathing. So the reason I started with the alternate nostril breathing as my first live is because it is predominantly, people pleasing is predominantly a left brain activity. And that is because our left brain is more, well, this is separate. Let me take a step back. I'm getting ahead of myself. Divine masculine is what governs people pleasing. So when you're a people pleaser, and I felt this even before I learned all of this, I felt like I was just turning into a masculine expression years ago before I started learning all this. And this is why, because the masculine expression, divine masculine expression, is about taking action. Divine masculine is action oriented. And it's perfectionist, it's overactive, pleasing, expressions outside yourself, looking for things to help you outside yourself to help you express. That's divine masculine. Overthinking, overanalyzing externally, you're hyper attuned to other people's emotions. That's divine masculine. You're scanning, constantly scanning. Your nervous system is always on hyper alert to look for what others need from you for them to approve of you or to accept you. That's the divine masculine. But we want to balance out the right and the left. We want to balance out divine masculine with divine feminine. Divine feminine is on the receiving end, allowing your intuition, noticing your intuition, allowing it so you can hear it, feel it, see it. Divine feminine is about the voice. It's about boundaries. And yeah, oftentimes, like I said, in the people-pleasing pattern, your divine masculine is overactive and your divine feminine is more dormant. Yes, feminine is about allowing and boundaries. Exactly right. Thank you for being here, Angel Kicking. Very nice to have you here. That's right, exactly. And so we want to harmonize both your divine masculine and your divine feminine. By harmonizing it, it helps us begin to receive instead of only giving. It helps us speak instead of suppress our feelings and the words we feel like we want to say. It helps us feel more, feeling our feels over acting first, being in fear and responding so quickly. It helps us feel what's going on inside, and it helps us honor ourself instead of abandoning ourself. People pleasers, as people pleasers, we are disconnected from our inner signals, our needs, our boundaries, our emotions. We have trained ourselves to take care of others and shrink ourselves and our own needs to avoid conflict. And this technique it does have the neurological effect that retrains the neurons to fire in a different way so we can sense our own needs, so we can feel where we need to set boundaries. That's another one. Even when I was further into my healing, there were many times that I didn't even notice I was feeling something. So we have to begin to train the body to let us know, to keep us safe, to let us know, okay, I am feeling something, so that we can tune in to what we're feeling in our body. And this neurological, when you rewire the way the neurons fire, it helps you interrupt the yes reflex. I mean, this is something we've been doing for years, decades, and we want to retrain it. We want our body, we want to have confidence and know, and for our body to know how to keep us safe. So, does anyone, I know Angel Kicking, if you're familiar with the Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine, you're probably familiar with meditating and maybe even breath work. Let me know in the chat. And anyone else that is here, I see a couple other people, or a couple people here. Yeah, chat with us so we can make this very interactive. I would love to get to know you, and not just you getting to know me, but I would love to get to know you. So the reflex is what plays in our mind, even unconsciously, a lot of times in our subconscious. When we have that coping reflex, it's the words playing in our mind, or I need people to be happy so I feel safe. And we want to begin to affirm, my body knows how to keep me safe. When safety is felt from inside us, we learn to no longer reach for it outside of us. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the technique. And it is alternate nostril breathing to balance out the right and left hemispheres of the brain. So let's begin by getting into a comfortable position. And it would be good if you begin this practice today sitting up in a chair. And I like to sit on the edge of my chair. If you're more relaxed with your back against the chair, that is fine. But I want to tell you a quick little tip that I have learned from experience. A lot of times you are in a meditation and the person guiding the meditation will, make a point to say, keep your spine straight. And I have learned that this definitely works. And when I have my back not against the back of the chair, so that and I'm sitting on the edge of the chair, and it helps tilt the top. That was my crystal that I had in my lap. Let me reach for it real quick. It's my crystal, my opal polished heart that I have for the energies I have programmed into it. Specifically Mother Mary's energy to keep me in divine love and divine compassion. And so, okay, getting back to sitting on the edge of the chair. When you sit on the edge of your seat, comfortably, it tilts the top of your spine forward so that you can have a somewhat straight and lifted spine without your low back getting tired. If you've ever tried to sit on the floor like in a crisscross position, and if your knees are up higher than your hips, the top of your pelvis is tilted back, and you'll notice that your back starts to ache when you're trying to sit in that meditation. This is the solution. You want to sit in a way, if you're sitting on the floor, either sit on a folded blanket, which allows for your knees to drop below the waist. That helps to tilt your top of your pelvis forward so that you can sit there for a longer period of time without that low back starting to ache. And it can really get achy because I've tried it. So there's a little tip for how to sit in meditation. And I'm going to sit now on the edge of my chair, tilting the top of my pelvis forward. And you want to keep the spine straight because it has been my experience that when your spine is straight, that energy can flow better up your spine. I have noticed it to the extent so much that when I'm sitting on the edge of my seat without my back touching the back of the chair and that energy is flowing, my chakras have started to spin so strongly that my torso will begin to spin following that energy spin. And so I want to keep myself in a position where I can do that. My body can do that freely and my energy can flow freely. So there's enough of that. But for right now, let's kind of put our arms out in front of us to prepare for this alternate nostril breathing, and hold your hands together if you want, and just pull the shoulder blades apart, stretching the upper back, and then hump over a little bit and round the whole back. So you get a good stretch to the low back, the middle back, and the upper back. And begin to take some deep breaths. All right, you can do there. And now bring your shoulders up and back and down. And one more time, up toward the ears, back and down. That's just going to get us a little warmed up. You can stretch out the side of your neck if you want. And alternate nostril breathing. I'm going to take off my glasses so that I can do this properly. There's a couple ways for the hand mudra. There's a hand mudra where you fold your index finger and your middle finger downward so that you can use your thumb to close off your right side nostril and your ring finger to close off your left side nostril. And you are going to only close one nostril at a time. So in my guidance as we're going through the alternate nostril breath, always remember that if I skip one of the cues, one nostril at a time. So we're going to begin, again, our deep breathing. Take 3 rounds of deep inhales. Pause at the top, and then a long, slow exhale. And as you continue that for 2 more rounds, there is a neurological connection between a long out breath and feeling better. Just like when you're stressed out and you're not conscious of it, you'll catch yourself sighing out, long breaths out. That's what that body is trying to do, is trying to calm your nervous system by having the long breath out. Okay, so you've done your few rounds of long, deep breathing. But what I like to do, the hand mudra is a lot of times this, but I think it feels a little awkward. So the way I do it is I rest my 2 peace fingers, the index finger and the middle finger, at my third eye. And that way, the pinky is just free and can be fancy or whatever, but that way I can easily close off each nostril as I need to. So take an inhale. And on the exhale, welcome. Hope you can join in. On the exhale, you're going to pause at the bottom of that exhale, close off the right nostril with your thumb, And then exhale long and slow. Now inhale deeply into your left nostril. Pause at the top of that inhale. And now free the right and close off the left with your ring finger. And exhale long and slow. Inhale through your right nostril. Release the left nostril, close off the right, and exhale through the left nostril. Inhale through the left nostril. Close off the left nostril and exhale right nostril. Inhale right. Pause. Close right, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. So you're going to close after each inhale, you're going to change after each inhale. Inhale right. Change, close off the right, exhale left. Yes, this hand position is more relaxing. Inhale left. Change, exhale right. Inhale right. Change, exhale left. Inhale left. You can close your eyes if you want. Change, exhale right. Inhale right. Change, exhale left. Inhale left. Change, exhale right. Inhale right. Change and keep going at your own pace. One more complete cycle. And after you finish the next exhale, you can release your hand. And return to your natural breathing, keeping your eyes closed. And now tune into your body. What feels different? And feel more than think. I feel a lot more energy around my heart chakra. And I feel a mental clarity in my mental body. I still feel the energy. It's like when I feel the energy, it just feels like there's a lot of energetic activity, like not really a flutter, but just like some more gentle movements, like butterflies in my chest and my heart space. And I feel more relaxed than before. I did have some nerves with doing my first live, but now I feel more relaxed. Would anyone else like to share in the chat how they felt during or after? And yes, I absolutely agree, Ariel. That hand position is much more comfortable to rest your peace fingers on your third eye. I'm walking, so I couldn't really do it. Yeah, good point. I hope you have a chance to come back to it and try it again. But what I want to add is the importance of doing this on a regular basis. We did about a 5 to 7 minute alternate breath practice today. But you can, if you're a beginner, definitely start with 5 minutes, 6 minutes. And then for a couple weeks, if you're lucky enough to be able to do it every day, devote your time, devote yourself to this. So important. If you watch one of my other videos, I talk about how important devotion is and how it really brings things into your experience. Devoting your time and your effort and your intention brings those things that you intend and want into your experience. So do the 5 minutes if you're a beginner to alternate nostril breathing. Do 5 minutes for a couple weeks every day. Or listen to your own body. If you feel ready to move up to 10 minutes, then move up to 10 minutes. If you're ready to do 15 minutes, move up to 15 minutes at any point. It helped me. My nervous system was on high alert. I was one of those people that was always in high anxiety about everything, about what people might think about me, about what they were going to say. I worried about things before I went into a conversation. I worried, oh my goodness, so much after I would have a conversation. I would spend days and longer, but the first few days would be continuous loop of, oh, they probably don't like me. They didn't like what I said when I said this. They didn't like it when I did this. I probably should have done something different. It was continuous in my mind, anxiety, high anxiety, almost all the time is how I lived. That creates so much stress on our bodies, which you probably know. Yes, consistency, Ariel, exactly. Thank you so much for being here. Angel Kicking and Ariel, I really appreciate it. OMG, the overthinking sounds just like me. Yeah, I don't do it anymore. I'm very much quicker to catch myself in that hindsight. I would spend so much time before in hindsight. Oh, I should have done this. I worried about this. They probably don't like me. Everything. I can't even think of everything I said. But now, since I have, gotten so much practice at meditating and quieting my mind, learning how to change my patterns of thought. That's a big one. I had to retrain my mind. And if you visit some of my other videos, I talk about tools that I use to retrain my mind. The big one being A Course in Miracles. put in the chat if you've ever heard of A Course in Miracles. Hopefully you won't be like me. When I first heard of A Course in Miracles, I waited 15 years before I devoted myself to it. So I waited another 15 years in this busy ticker tape kind of mind, overthinking. But once I got the Course in Miracles and I did the practice, it was hard at first. I'll throw this in. There's a 365-day lesson, if you didn't know. I've started A Course in Miracles several times. Okay, good. I was about to say something about starting and not finishing. So this will maybe help. I started it and did it every day the first time for 40 days. And then I just got to the point where I just felt like I couldn't do it. And what I've been told is that, and it makes sense, and I was told this from high frequency being, Jesus, told me that it's our ego. Our ego is making us feel overwhelmed. Our ego wants us to feel overwhelmed because it doesn't feel safe. This is something new. This is something it's not used to. It needs to keep doing things the old way to keep you safe. So what happened was I prayed about it back then. Once I got to 40 days and I couldn't do it anymore, retraining is so hard. It really is. I will not make light of it, but it is possible. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, yes, the ego. That's right. The ego was the one that made it difficult because I was following the ego, right? I kind of got lost in it. And so what happened was I prayed about it. Jesus, please help me. Give me something that I can do to help me stay devoted to this 365. And what happened was Jesus put something in my Facebook feed. I think it was Facebook. And her name was Lisa Natoli. And her organization is called Teachers of God. And she was offering a free 40-day practice with Jesus. And he had guided her to give this 40 days with Jesus for free. And I'm a prime example of why it needed to be free, because at the time, it was a long story. I wasn't working, so I didn't have much money, and I needed it free. So he put it into my path, and I believe she still offers it. And I tell you what, it made all the difference. 40 days went by, and I did her 40-day free practice every morning, and it changed everything. Once I finished her 40 days with Jesus practice, I I started back from day one on the 365, A Course in Miracles. And then from that day on, after the 40 days with Jesus, I was like a robot. I mean, I did not miss a day on the Course in Miracles. I did 365 days of that lesson. And if you want to follow up on my channel, you'll see that I recently did a video about what happened the night of the day of the last lesson. And it was incredible. It had clarified my mind. It had retrained my mind. And my mind was now clarified. That doesn't mean that I was completely healed, but what it meant was it put me in a position where I was more clear and I could begin to see the ways that I needed to heal. And there were so many. But it is hard. It's a lot of work. But my life has changed for the better once I started devoting all this time to A Course in Miracles and all this time to my self-care and retraining my mind. I don't know the statistics, but 90-something% of what we believe is not true. So retraining our mind and using meditation to help us retrain our mind and using tools like A Course in Miracles is so important for your quality of life. You came here because you're here watching me. That tells me that you are here because you came into this life with a soul contract to heal your people-pleasing patterns, just like me. And once it was very recently, after 6 or so years of dedicated self-care and retraining my mind and healing my people-pleasing patterns, it was in June of this year, just a few months ago. This is 2025. For people watching the replay years from now, if it happens. But in June of this year, I received channeled information that's why I'm here. That was part of my soul mission, is to help other people pleasers. That is my niche. That is what they told me in the channel. And they told me specifically to say in my videos to the viewers, I have been summoned to change the trajectory of your life. So I'm going to start rounding this out. Ariel, thank you for the claps. We are all here. I'm in a similar situation now. So you did the 40 days twice, basically. Well, let me clarify that real quick. I did the first 40 days of A Course in Miracles lessons, and then my ego started resisting it. So I put it down. I tried, but I put it down because I couldn't get my head around it. My ego was too strong at that time, saying, no, you can't do A Course in Miracles. But another program, I know it's confusing, another program by Lisa Natoli came into my Facebook feed, and it was called 40 Days with Jesus. Look it up. It was on her a web page, and it was free. I'm pretty sure it's still free since Jesus guided her to offer that. But it's a different program. But what happened was, it was like our own little support group. She would boost me up. She's really good at public speaking. Oh, and it was just so good. And her music, I got used. She had a certain music behind her videos for 40 days, the same music over and over, that would just light me up. Once I did it a few days, every time I would start to play that, the replay of 40 Days with Jesus for that particular day, it would just, you know how music can get in your bones and you just feel it? And that's what it would do. Even now, if I hear that music, it's like my body drops into that calm, peaceful state that I felt each day that I watched her 40 Days with Jesus program. So look it up. Lisa Natoli. I'll spell it real quick. Her last name is Natoli, I believe. Lisa Natoli. Ariel says, I see the 40 Days with Jesus was different. I'm totally looking it up, and I hope it's still free. Music is the voice of the Most High. Precisely. It just has an effect on us. But those videos that she did were amazing. I mean, it's been 10 years or so since I did that. 9 years. It's been about 9 years since I did her 40 Days with Jesus. But please, I do encourage everyone to look that up. If you need help staying on your 365 lessons for A Course in Miracles. And also, I want to say, A Course in Miracles is a living transmission. The teachings are directly from Jesus through the human that opened up and allowed him to channel through her. But there are other living transmissions. Another one is the Way of Mastery. Another one is the Sophia Code. And another one even is the 7 Sacred Flames. But I didn't do the Sophia Code and the 7 Sacred Flames. I think that I wasn't ready for them until after I completed A Course in Miracles 365. So, but there are, and there are even more things that I'm not mentioning here. Books, programs that you can use if you devote to it to clarify your mind. It doesn't have to be A Course in Miracles, but it has helped many. It's helped tens of thousands of people. If you look, if you're not familiar with A Course in Miracles, if you look it up online, there are so many people that just fall in love with it. And even when I finished my 365, it's like I didn't want to let it go. Jesus told me that I needed to move on to other things and just use A Course in Miracles as a reference here and there, but I didn't need to redo it. I had graduated. Some people need to do it twice, but the way I did it, I wasn't working. I was so devoted. Well, I did work part of the time, but I was so devoted that it was almost like a 24/7 practice for me for those. And anyway, wow, this is going a lot longer than I anticipated, but that's okay, right? I prayed about it and I meditated before I came on live, and I asked the Magdalens and my higher self and my guardian angels to speak through me, to help me know in the moment what was the right thing to say, what to add, what not to say. So is there anything else? Does anyone, Natoli, that's right, that's spelled correctly as far as I remember, Ariel, Natoli. And do you have anything you want to ask me? Or if you want to put something in the chat now or come back and comment later and tell me some things that you would like for me to talk about on future lives, I would really appreciate it. I'm just starting out. And it's because for years, I have been pulled toward helping other people with this. And I'm finally trying to step out, put my face out there, put my voice out there. And so I'm grateful for you being here, both of you. And I think that was Peace Kicking and Ariel. Yeah. Hi. Ariel, I see on one of the above chats that you wrote Peace, Peace, Frequency Family. Are you familiar with, what's her name? Courtney Kairos? She has a Frequency Family online, and I am part of her Light and Love Club. That's the name of the program. I'm part of her Light and Love Club. Ariel, thank you for that comment. That was amazing. This live is amazing. We'll rewatch from the beginning. Thank you so much for that comment, Ariel. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you all again in future lives. And I'm playing it by ear. I'm trying not to plan and figure things out so much like I used to. That was the old me. Yes, I'm in the Freak Speak 111. Me too, Ariel. And saw your unlisted and was crying with you. That's right. Now that was totally unexpected. And my ego was like, I don't want to put this on YouTube, but that's what I got. My guide said, yes, put this up there because it's because society is so used to suppressing their emotions. Oh, we can't show it to anybody, right? How many times have you watched a touching YouTube video by someone and they start apologizing for starting to get emotional? Even just a little teary-eyed to go, oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. And that was what it was about. That was saying we need to let it out, not be ashamed of it, not be afraid of what people are going to think. And boy, did I pour it out, Ariel. I mean, it was that was just in the moment. When I woke up that morning, right, I heard the voice in my ear said, Tina. So I had to get up there and do that. And I try to follow source. I try to follow my higher self, my inner guidance, because they know better than I do what I need. I don't want to get stuck in the human patterns anymore. My 111 speaks are still unlisted because I can't get past my ex or mom seeing it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, and then I saw Source Zero talking about zero is what Source calls, zero is what Courtney calls her guides, I think, Source. And just to let the other people that aren't familiar with the Light and Love Club know what that is. But Source did say that simply by setting the intention and be devoted to it, even though you're not listing them or publishing them, is still devotion. You're still making things happen. You're doing the energetic works, what they said. So, Ariel, I will see you in future Light and Love Clubs and 111 Freak Speak. And to anyone else on this live or watching the replays, blessed be. We love you. From me and all my guys, my heart's fluttering again, dancing about. And take care until I see you again. Much love.